Senator Kleinpeter? 218. Or so. Okay, Senator Kleinpeter. It's been a long one.
I didn't think y'all would ever get me up here.
187.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Members, thank y'all for having me today. We'll be brief on this. This is a coroner's bill. We had some language that we were trying to clean up. As far as on the investigations, I actually created this bill because my deputy coroner, who's sitting next to me, reached out. Funeral homes that actually reached out. There were some problems on denying cremation permits, and this is what we're fixing. I'll turn it over to deputy coroner, but I actually spoke with Representative Jordan before this. There were some things that we're going to work on between here and the House floor on removing one of the paragraphs, and we can go into that if you want. No?
Okay. Filling out a card in favor of wishing to speak is Brandy Melissa. Miss Melissa, you still here?
She stepped out.
Okay.
Right, who left on me?
You want to yield the card to the opposition real quick? Let them talk?
Just
Sure.
use.
Okay. Reverend Alexis Anderson, are you here? And Catherine Simpson, are you here? Miss Simpson?
She had to leave.
Okay, Miss Anderson, 3 minutes.
Good afternoon, and thank you for receiving me. My name is Reverend Alexis Anderson. I wear multiple hats, but one of them is I'm a member of the East Baton Rouge Parish Prison Reform Coalition. One of my great concerns about this bill, and I understand there's no such thing as a perfect bill, is the fact that for many people, particularly that are impacted by charges related to the outcomes of coroners' investigations, is the fact that between Allen Parish and Wynn Parish, what the definition of a coroner's investigation means could be completely different. And that, to me, is completely unacceptable. The second issue that I have, which is, unfortunately, the coalition that I work with, we have over 60 deaths that occurred in our local pretrial facility. And so those deaths are mandated under the statute for investigation. And I most certainly respect the fact that families often want and need to be able to have a home going as a closure. But because those investigations often lead to enhanced charges, and in many cases, some of the victims that die in carceral facilities not having their deaths adequately and appropriately investigated, that I am just very concerned that the passage of this bill without addressing first and foremost the issues around what is in a coroner's investigation, the standard should be the same regardless of the parish. And secondly, the issue of no enforceability when those investigations are found to be flawed in any way, shape, or form. We literally have people sitting in carceral facilities right now on the basis of sometimes minuscule investigations. And so again, I want to end where I started. I understand there's no such thing as a perfect bill, but there is such a thing as due process and justice. And when we are allowing people to be arrested, incarcerated, separated from their families on the basis of quote unquote investigations that were cursory glances, did not involve the appropriate time and attention, I think that has to be preeminent to having a quick homegoing. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am. So, you have a question, ma'am? Representative Jordan has a question for you.
Because I got to be in court too. So
no. Good afternoon, Reverend Nancy. Look, I'm not gonna hold you long. I'm really trying to figure out, because I've talked to the author and I got a couple of concerns, but what I'm trying to do is prevent some of the issues where we've got some people dying under mysterious circumstances and then their bodies being cremated before they have a full investigation. So I just want to make sure that I want to make sure I'm clearly understanding what your concerns are, so that we can make sure we have them addressed on the way to the floor if this bill would move forward.
Yes, absolutely. And I have three concerns. The first one is all deaths that occur in carceral institutions are mandated to be investigated. And so the investigation system needs to be the same, whether it's Allen Parish, East Baton Rouge Parish, or Wynn Parish.
No, I understand that, but I don't think that bill, are you saying this bill is going to change that?
No, what I am saying is I am concerned that we are going to move forward on a bill without addressing the foundational and fundamental issues that currently exist and quite frankly have been amplified through testimony over this bill.
All right. I tell you, no, that's fine. Look, I tell you what, in an effort to save time, why don't you and I talk with the author offline and make sure to see if we can put some of those concerns to it. I know he's been open. I will tell you, he's been open to some of the suggestions that I've made so far. I don't know if that's going to fit necessarily within the scope of the bill,
but I will say that I think maybe at some future date, there certainly needs to be a study at the minimum of literally what every parish is doing. Because as we know, the standards of who is a coroner is immensely different depending on what parish and what they have. And what types of investigations are being done, I think needs to be standardized. And I think allowing a cremation too fast means that people lose their right to due process. Because once that body's gone, so is the evidence. And that's the reality. And so I think the timeliness of it, the bill itself says the 30 days. And of course it can be extended. But I do think the issue of, especially when there are charges that are attached to that, or these special situations like deaths in carceral facilities, that needs to be one of the standards that has priority over a quick timeline. And again, the bill does specifically say that a coroner's investigation, so it does not in any way collaborate with or have a partnership with any policing investigation that may go on.
No, well, let me say this. I've spoken to the author and the deputy coroner that's with him, and I think they share your concerns. They don't want cremations to happen too fast. They want to make sure that a proper investigation is done before that. So I think everybody's on the same page. That's what I'm saying. I think we just need to talk.
And again, I must be very honest. I initially wanted to put in a white card, and I was told I could not put in a white card. So I went with the red instead of, because I'm not okay with the bill. Did the right thing.
You told the truth.
I'm not okay with the bill.
I wish more people would do that.
I really did want to provide that additional input, as opposed to, I have great concerns, but
I understand,
it is what it
I
is.
can tell you guys have more in common on this bill. So I will talk offline.
Senator Kleinpeter, you want to close on your bill?
Yes. This bill has brought a lot of things to attention that we do need to address in the future, and I'm willing to address things with another bill in the future. But this bill has nothing to do with what a lot of people have come to the table, emails, calls, testimonies, as far as the problems that we have with different coroners throughout this state doing different things. This was simple. My deputy coroner was doing what the law stated, as far as he was denying the cremation, but until he got back all of his reports. So he was doing an autopsy, he was doing the toxicology, and until the toxicology came back, that's whenever he would release the body. So this is simple. This is allowing him to be able to release the bodies to the families for cremation. This has nothing to do with prisons, other parishes. This is just it's brought a lot of light that I'm willing to look in and working with. The Coroners Association actually helped and worked with my deputy coroner on this bill as well. So if you have anything to say.
I'm Yancey Gary, and I'm the chief deputy coroner in West Baton Rouge. Like he said, I asked him to help us with this. In a case where someone dies of an overdose of an illegal substance, the law that regulates second-degree murder says that whoever dispensed or distributed that drug can be charged with second-degree murder. So when you have someone that can be charged with murder, it's obvious a crime was committed. And in the current law, it states that if we have reasonable probability a crime was committed that contributed to this death, then we need to deny the permit. It also, in Title 135713, it states that in Section B1, if you have a reasonable probability a crime was committed that contributed to death, it's mandatory for the coroner to perform an autopsy. And if you look at Title 40, Section 2019, it refers to child death investigation, and it makes it clear when it refers to child death investigation what an autopsy consists of. It's an internal and an external examination. You know, I hear some coroners talk about, we just perform an external autopsy, but that term doesn't exist in Louisiana law. The law says that an autopsy is to be performed by a competent physician. According to the State Board of Medical Examiners, the competent physician is a physician who's licensed with the State Board of Medical Examiners here in Louisiana. So I believe that when we have a case, and this is my main reason for contacting him, a lot of people, the families have children or someone who in their family suffered from substance abuse. They exhaust their finances trying to get them help, and whenever they do, end up overdosing and dying, it puts a heavy burden on the family to have them buried. And cremation is a much less expensive option.
I think we're in good shape. Representative Jordan, you have a motion? Representative Jordan's made a motion to report SB 187 favorable. Any opposition? We're doing an SB 187 report in favor.
Thank you all members. You have a great day.